Hey, all cinephile Mike, your friendly neighborhood cinephile is here, and this is episode 11 of Oscar Rewind 2024 edition, my bi-weekly series of videos where I revisit films of reflecting the work of the Oscar nominees and winners of this past season. My hope with these videos is that you will rediscover an old favorite you haven't seen in a while, or maybe find something new that you haven't seen before, which today's, I have a feeling, might be a first for many of you out there. As always, I will be discussing the film's award season trajectory, its box office, the ratings, and the summaries are always spoiler free. So, today, I am heading overseas for a film that honestly, I would have almost definitely missed if not for doing the research that I've been doing on all of this year's nominees and winners. Today, I am discussing Shellac Distribution's Age of Panic. Released in the summer of 2013, only in Europe, with a few screenings that made it to the States in early 2014, the film was written and directed by Justine Triet. Now, during its theatrical run, it only shows a small total international and worldwide box office take of, I think the smallest I've reported thus far, $1,782. Now, as per Rotten Tomatoes, very few reviews on here. The film actually has no audience rating and only 8 critic reviews. And it's a small group, but all of them shining positive. For the first time this season, I can say that from those 8 on Rotten Tomatoes, Age of Panic has a 100% fresh, certified, very fresh critical rating. Very high bar. Do I agree? Let's talk about it. Now, as you can probably already tell, Age of Panic lands on this year's Rewind season because of its writer and director, Justine Triet. Now, this year, Triet was nominated for 2 Oscars, one for Best Director and one for Best Original Screenplay for Anatomy of a Fall. She would go on to win the Oscar for Original Screenplay, and she would share it with her frequent collaborator, Arthur Harari, who in Age of Panic made his feature film acting debut. Now, the film didn't have a large awards season following. It was nominated, however, for one big award. It was nominated for Best First Film at the 2014 César Awards, which is France's variant on the Oscars. And it won or was nominated for various awards at several different festivals. One that is worth mentioning is that it won the Audience Award at the Paris International Film Festival for, now, IMDb reported this as best short film, but I'm wondering if that was a typo. I was trying to dig into that research a little bit because this is not a short film, it's an hour and a half. So, if any of you Justine Triet or French film enthusiasts and fans are out there know differently, let me know. I'm still trying to dig into that, but that was the awards information I could find. Now, let's talk about the film. Age of Panic takes place over the course of one very tumultuous day in the life of Letitia. But before I get into that, let me frame the day by talking about the date, specifically May 6th, 2012, which was a very big day in France, in French history, as this was the second round runoff election for the president between Francois Hollande and Nicolas Sarkozy. Now, at this time, the streets were mobbed with citizens waiting to find out what the election results would be. The crowd shown rival Times Square at New Year's Eve or certain countries when their country has won the World Cup. No traffic is getting by. People are packed, like building to building in the streets. Like you have to dig and move through. This is the kind of situations personally I avoid. And in a post COVID time, everyone avoids. Now, how does this impact Letitia? Well, in the film, Letitia is a reporter. She's trying to get ready and leave to go to work, which specifically is meant for her to meet her cameraman and give on the street check-ins as the election results are coming in and interview, people on the streets. Now, as she's running around trying to get ready and very late, she's dealing with an overly supportive to the point of being obnoxious about it and yet not really doing anything. Boyfriend Virgil, who says he wants to help but doesn't really do much. And she's giving directions to the new babysitter, Mark, who's filling in for her usual one who's not available. But she needs to make sure that her two young girls, who are approximately somewhere between 2 and 3, probably even less, are properly cared for. And now, to complicate things, as she's trying to get this done and is about to leave, who shows up but her ex husband, Vincent, knocking at the door for his court approved, supervised in the eyes of the care of the mother's visit. But he is a day late. He was supposed to be there on the 5th. He had the 5th and 6th and didn't show up on the 5th. And now she's trying to get to work. Not letting him into the home and ignoring his phone calls, she lets Mark know under no circumstances is he to be let in, and if he gives Mark any issues, Mark is to call a neighbor that will deal with him. Finding her way out, Letitia will head off to work. However, and this is all within the first 10, 15 minutes or so, then what will follow is what happens with the rest of this. We will see, what happens when Vincent actually gets into the house and Mark having to take the girls from their home and meet their mother out in these crowded mob streets on election day. And also build to a very climactic standoff, a few between Vincent and Letitia, where after we've been given information about this marriage, we will see that maybe not all is as it appears to be. Now, Triet, as a first time filmmaker, you could see that this is her tone. She gives a very strong story of a marriage gone awry, something that she will continue to craft. Now, I've only seen two films, Anatomy of a Fall and this one, but this does seem to be a common trope. However, she really crafts a unique story here that parallels chaos. Because not only are we seeing the chaos of what Letitia and Vincent are going through at this point in their lives, but we see the chaos that's happening in the streets around them at election time. Now, this took a lot of preparation. The script, much of which is improvised, was shot during this election day. So, in fact, the results of the election weren't known. So, part of the film had to be stretched out, filming on that day after the results were done. So, if you watch this film, all those street scenes, all the crowds, all the mobs, all the cheering, all the pushing, that's all real. It's not extras, it's not planned. That's guerrilla filmmaking at its best. We have two settings. We have the streets and we have Letitia's home are the two primary settings. And this added a nice visual layer. In fact, the style of capturing the streets was also used inside the home. So these actors, all with great chemistry and playing characters named after themselves, give you a very lived in film, almost to the point where you don't think you're watching a narrative film. The style and the performances actually make you feel like we're seeing everything through a documentarian's lens. And at parts, it is very funny, some of the things we're watching. And at other times, it is almost too painful to watch to the point where you almost want to turn your head and look away. Letitia and Vincent, Letitia Doche and Vincent Macagne, I feel I want to represent their names, present this dysfunctional couple very well to the point where I almost wondered if they knew each other well enough to get into what they get into. And, the innocent standers-by, Marc-Antoine Vaugeois, apologize if I pronounce that wrong, I'm not a good French speaker, as the babysitter Mark, and Arthur Harari as Vincent's law student friend, sometimes they can't do anything but stand by and watch what's happening. I'm fully invested in this film until the third act stretches a bit, and then we kind of get to a little bit of an ambiguous, truncated ending, which, after everything that Triet threw at us for about 90 minutes, almost seems a bit unfair. But if she was going for this day in the life of, chapter of history, she crafts it well, even if I was a little disappointed with how it ended. So, where do I rank it? All in all, it's a 4-star film for me. I was leaning towards a 5 for all the things that this film did. But until we get to that last third, but again, it wasn't so much that it really pulled down my rating too much. So, if you would like to see Age of Panic, it is streaming exclusively at this time, as of this posting recording, on Mubi, MUBI, where a lot of great independent and foreign films are. So, there you have it. Hope everyone is enjoying Oscar Rewind this season. Is there a film that you're hoping I get to? Let me know in those comments. You never know. I may invite you on to review the film with me. As always, if you like what you heard here, please click subscribe, like the channel, spread the word. Please invite more people into our cinematic discussions. You know you want to. It's a lot of fun. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. I will see everyone, but until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.